Look what we have here, a cold-soaked Zeekr 7X. And it's time to just drive it down to the charger, which is very, very close by. It is like 5 minutes away, and I'm going to plug it into the charger and see what happens. So let's jump into the car, see if the doors will open. This car has automatic doors. I don't know if they will work even now, but I'm excited to test. Then I will go into the car and I will explain to you what kind of battery is in this car and what I think will happen. And then we see what really happens once we are down at the charger. Okay, I think we need some snow removal before we start. So I will go out and remove some snow. Just to tell you how this car, it will tell me that we have a low temperature alert and it'll suggest battery preheating. We won't preheat at all, that's kind of the deal right now. We will just drive down to the charger. But first I have to walk around the car and remove some snow for safety. Due to safety reasons, I'll just let the windshield defrost a little bit before driving, and then we will go down to the charger. Again, the charger is about 5 minutes away. So it's quite slippery outside actually due to all the new snow on the road. There's a ton of snow on the road, but this car handles pretty well. It's still not warm in the car though after 2 minutes, but I think we are getting there. At least the windshield is clear and everything is safe. Some very light snow on the roof, but that doesn't really matter. And we are driving to the charger. So what kind of battery do we have in this Zeekr? This Zeekr has a Qilin NMC battery made by CATL. So CATL is the largest battery manufacturer in the world, and the Qilin battery is their NMC line of batteries that are used in so many different cars. I think even the Xiaomi's use these batteries. The generation of Qilin battery in this car is the one that's 4.5, 5C, 480 kilowatt maximum allegedly. I have never experienced anything like it. Of course, we don't have the infrastructure to charge that fast in Europe just yet, but you can kind of gauge from how many amps it requests from different chargers as well. So it's still an insanely fast charging car when the battery is at optimal temperature. And I've had some issues with this car and optimizing it on like longer trips. So I'm curious to see what happens now that we drive over to the charger and just plug in the car at a low state of charge, but in very cold weather and with a frozen battery that hasn't had the time to heat up at all. Let's see if the charging port wants to open. It's automatic, and that's always a question in the winter. Perfect, nice. Contactors clicking, and that's the beautiful sound of the Alpitronic chargers. I think the sound is absolutely so amazingly beautiful. So let's see what happens now with this cold battery. I'm using a 300 kilowatt charger, so this charger won't be able to max out the car, but it doesn't matter because we won't ever reach that now. So in cold weather we are getting 77 kilowatts, it seems, and I am curious to follow this charging curve and see what actually happens. Will we ramp up? This car usually has a very slow ramp, so I'm very curious to see what happens. 80 kilowatts is exactly the same as we would have gotten on a Tesla supercharger, by the way, because this car is 800 volt architecture. You know what the Chinese calls the plugs? They call them guns. And you can see here battery temperature is low, battery performance has decreased, gun is plugged in, battery temperature control cannot be enabled. That's of course what happens. So you can see here charging power 70 kilowatts, and I'm also using climate because I don't want to freeze to death. So yeah, let's see what happens there. You can see it jumping up and down a little bit, but it's taking about 100 amps. Actually kind of surprised that we are getting 70-80 kilowatts right now. With a cold-soaked LFP battery, that's not the BYD Blade battery because that's special, but normal LFP batteries that are sold in cars in Europe today, the same temperature it would ask to kind of warm up the battery for a few minutes before starting charging, usually. That's my experience, at least. So here we can see a benefit of the NMC technology, even, or the chemistry, sorry, because I said that I had some preconditioning issues with this car, and that's to get like the maximum charging speed, that we are able to get like 70-80 kilowatts at least right now, and that the car is able to not cold gate too much. It is able to kind of warm up itself. We might see a increase in charging power as we stay here for a little bit. So let's just stay here and see what happens. Let's take a look. 70 kilowatts. Details. That's when I jumped into the car, I think. Oh, it's going down. Interesting. So let's follow the charging curve, but we have added 8 kilowatt hours in 6 minutes and 28 seconds. The battery is making some noises, or the charging equipment, which is interesting. So it seems like it's trying very hard to heat up itself. Oh wow, stuff is actually heating up. So let's look at the details here. You can see that the charging curve goes up. That's awesome. So now we are doing 99 kilowatts. It seems to be holding itself around a little bit under 100 kilowatts, 85 kilowatts right now. I'm running the climate as well, and that's extra hard on the car because it needs to heat up me and the battery, of course. But I mean, 80 kilowatts flat is not that great, but at the same time, I didn't precondition at all, and that's by design, because we want to see how the batteries themselves kind of tackle this kind of cold climate. And I've said this before, I've had issues with preconditioning this car in the winter, but it's nice to see that we have kind of like a small baseline where it can hold itself, that it doesn't ask, oh, I need a few minutes to heat up the battery, and that it drops off a ledge to just nothing. It's able to get energy now. But I'm curious to see, moving forward now, will it be able to heat itself up enough to have more power? And it seems to actually be able to do so. Now it is doing 105 kilowatts. There's a guy pulling up in a Firefly in the winter. This is awesome. I love the Firefly. It is such an amazing car, and I've already done a review over on Autospec Reviews, if you want to check that out. Now we're up to 130 kilowatts and jumping around a little bit like this car always does, but 130 kilowatts at 42%. Now we're doing 116. It's jumping around a little bit, but it is increasing, and that's what's important. This is Norway. We have a Zeekr 7X. We have this Firefly charging, and the logo lights up. That's cool. And we have a Polestar taxi over there. We have a Nissan Leaf over there. And we are all very happy with the EVs in the cold, which is interesting. So now that the Firefly guy went away, I'm going to look at his charging. He's doing 41 kilowatts at 30%. That's not very good. So maybe the Firefly is not that great of a winter car. We are doing 120 kilowatts at 47%. So now we can see the entire charging curve, which is fantastic. You can see it creeps up and up and up. It is worth noting that Firefly has a small battery as well, so maybe 41 kilowatts isn't the end of the world. It is a LFP battery as well, which is interesting to note. I love the logo. Let's do another check-in. 52%, 136 kilowatts. So now we are getting there. This is 1.4C about, and this battery is supposed to be able to take 4.5C, so you know it's not the best charging performance right now. But the average charging speed creeps up, which is fantastic. So 14 to 53% in 25 minutes, which is very slow, but again, it's able to gain more and more charging speed as we move along. It's only taking 200 amps or 190 amps. This car is able to, at peak, take like 600 amps or even more. Let's take a peek at the Firefly again. So it's doing 40 kilowatts. 40 kilowatts flat. From 28 to 37%. Interesting. 150 kilowatts. That's fantastic to see that it still creeps up. We will end the charging session at 80%, but we will of course monitor until then. We are at 130 kilowatts. We are at 79%. This has been a pretty okay charging curve for like a cold soaked battery. There we are at 80%. Stop charging and we will go out and take a look at the charging curve. We have been here for 36 minutes and 30 seconds. In that time period we have added almost an old Model Y battery and we went from 14 to 80%. So this is actually pretty good. Not amazing, but pretty good for a cold soaked battery, I would say. Zeekr has the coolest car wash mode ever. It goes through the checklist and everything, and we are doing a brushless car wash here just before we are delivering the car back to Zeekr. And yeah, even a ton of snow on, but the car wash mode looks amazing. It's absolutely insane. What's the verdict of the Qilin NMC 100 kilowatt hour pack that's in this Zeekr 7X of the European edition? It is important to say European edition because there are already facelifts of this car in China. I would say I was surprised. It performed better than I thought. 115 kilowatts was the average speed from 14 to 80%. We peaked at around 150-160 kilowatts. And for a cold soaked battery of this size, it is very hard to heat up a larger battery, of course, usually. It's pretty good, I would say. I'm surprised by the winter performance of this car because I had issues preconditioning this car when I was on a road trip, but I still got like over 200 kilowatts, and even on the return trip I got 330 kilowatts. So it isn't too much to complain about actually for road tripping this car in the winter. And I think this proves that NMC chemistry is of course better for these scenarios. But these scenarios never happen because you are supposed to charge at home, and if you're not able to charge at home, at least you should charge your battery at DC fast chargers while the battery is hot after a road trip, not when it has been cold soaking overnight, going down to the charger at 15% and then plugging in. This is a scenario that's just used to test the actual thermal performance of the chemistry. So I am pretty satisfied, but not amazed. -5, I know that there are batteries out there that can do better in terms of just pure chemistry without taking into account the preconditioning logic and such. Thank you so much for watching this Autospec roaming video. I hope you enjoyed this video. More videos like this are coming very, very soon.